It's a profound question that echoes through the ages. In this vast sea of humanity, why does God choose one person among many? Is it about being special, being perfect, or is it something else entirely? Today we're going to dive deep into this very question, exploring the heart of divine selection and what it might mean for you. This isn't just about biblical figures from thousands of years ago, it's about a pattern, a purpose, and a potential that might be stirring in your own life right now. So, let's get started. To understand why one is chosen, we have to go back to the very beginning. The book of Genesis tells us that God created mankind in his own image. Think about that for a moment, in his image. That means a piece of the divine, a spark of the Creator, was woven into the fabric of our being from the start. We weren't just another creation. We were made with intention, with a capacity for relationship, creativity, and love. And with this incredible honor came an equally incredible gift: free will. God didn't create robots programmed to obey. He created beings with the freedom to choose, to love him back, to follow his path, or to walk away. This freedom is the bedrock of a genuine relationship. It also means that every human life is imbued with a purpose, a potential role to play in the grand, unfolding story of creation. Here is a truth that might surprise you. God rarely chooses based on our modern ideas of perfection or qualification. If you look through the scriptures, you'll see a recurring theme. He doesn't pick the strongest, the wealthiest, or the most eloquent. He doesn't go for the person with the perfect resume. Instead, God consistently chooses the unlikely, the overlooked, and even the broken. Moses had a speech impediment. David was just a shepherd boy, the youngest of his brothers. Peter was an impulsive fisherman who denied Jesus. Paul was a persecutor of the very faith he would later champion. What does this tell us? It tells us that God's selection criteria are completely different from ours. He's not looking for our strength. He's looking for a space where his strength can be displayed. He chooses those who are aware of their weakness because it's in that humility, that reliance on him, that his power can truly shine. But when we know we are lacking, we have no choice but to rely on him. Weakness, in the economy of God, becomes the perfect vessel for his strength. Your struggles, your insecurities, the very things you might see as disqualifications, could be the exact reasons God is looking at you. So why does he bother choosing anyone at all for a specific task? The reason is always tied to a divine mission. The chosen are not selected for personal glory or an easy life. In fact, it's often the opposite. They are called to be instruments of God's will on earth. They are chosen to fulfill a purpose that is much bigger than themselves. Sometimes it's a mission to lead people out of bondage, like Moses. Sometimes it's to speak truth to power, like the prophets. Sometimes it's to build a community of believers, like the apostles. The chosen are meant to be guides and inspirations for others. They are like lighthouses. A lighthouse isn't built for its own sake. It's built to guide ships safely through dark and stormy seas. In the same way, God places his light in certain people so they can illuminate the path for others. Light is most effective and most needed in the darkness. God doesn't call people to sit in a spotlight and be admired. He calls them to go into the dark places of the world and be a beacon of his love, his truth, and his hope. The purpose of being chosen is never just about the individual. It's always about the impact that individual will have on the collective, on the world around them. So, how can you know if you are being called, if you are one of these chosen individuals? The signs are often not what you'd expect. It's not usually a booming voice from the heavens or a bolt of lightning. More often, the journey of the chosen begins with trials. It begins with a period of refining, of being shaped and molded. This can feel like isolation. It can feel like you're going through hardship after hardship, being tested in ways you don't understand. This is the furnace of affliction, where impurities are burned away and character is forged. Joseph was sold into slavery and thrown in prison. David was hunted by King Saul. Jesus himself spent 40 days in the wilderness, being tested. If you feel like you're in a period of intense pressure and isolation, don't despair. It might just be your training ground. Another key sign is a heart that genuinely seeks God. It's a deep, persistent hunger for more of Him. It's a dissatisfaction with the superficial things of this world and a yearning for something deeper, something eternal. You find yourself drawn to prayer, to Scripture, to a relationship with Him, even when it's not easy or popular. This isn't about being perfectly righteous. It's about the direction your heart is pointed. Even when you stumble, you find yourself getting back up and turning back to Him. This relentless pursuit of God's heart is a powerful indicator of His call on your life. And perhaps the most crucial sign is feeling the call even when you feel completely unworthy. That sense of inadequacy, of, "Who am I to do this?" is almost a prerequisite. Moses said, "Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh?" Gideon said, "My clan is the weakest, and I am the least in my family." Jeremiah said, "I do not know how to speak. I am too young." In every case, God's response was not, "You're right, you're amazing." It was, "I will be with you." The call isn't about your ability, it's about your availability and His omnipotence. If you feel a nudge from God to do something, but your first reaction is to list all the reasons you can't, you're in good company. That feeling of unworthiness is often the very thing that keeps you dependent on Him, which is exactly where He wants you to be. This brings us to a moment of reflection. Have you been through trials that have shaped you? Do you have a persistent ache in your heart for a deeper connection with God? Do you feel a calling to a purpose that seems far too big for you? Could it be that God is choosing you right now for a specific mission? It's a question worth sitting with. This isn't a call to arrogance or pride, but a call to humility and obedience. The question isn't, "Am I good enough?" but "Am I willing?" Are you willing to step out in faith, even with trembling knees? Are you willing to follow His lead, even when the path is unclear? Because here is the beautiful conclusion to this whole matter. The chosen are not born, they are shaped. You don't arrive fully formed. The calling is the beginning of a process. It's an invitation to a partnership with the Creator of the universe. God chooses a person, and then He begins the work of shaping them into the vessel He needs them to be. He equips, He guides, He strengthens, and He provides. Your job isn't to have it all figured out. Your job is simply to say yes, to take the next step, to let God lead your path. He chose you not because of who you are, but because of who He can be through you. So let go of the need to be perfect. Let go of the fear of inadequacy. Embrace the journey. If you feel that divine nudge, that call to something more, lean into it. Walk with faith and obedience, and watch as God uses your ordinary life to do extraordinary things. The greatest adventure you will ever embark on is the one you take hand in hand with Him. Thank you so much for joining me today to explore this incredible topic. I hope it's given you a new perspective on God's character and the potential He sees in you. If this resonated with you, please hit that like button and consider subscribing for more content like this. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Have a blessed week, and remember, your path is being guided.